You know what being a wrestling fan is? It's like being a mark with a Stockholm syndrome. You promise you're never ever going to watch again after that last bad booking decision. But as soon as that pyro hits, as soon as you hear that one wrestler's entrance theme song, and as soon as the PLE is around the corner, you're back at it and you're screaming, fight forever like your rent isn't due tomorrow. So let's play a little game. Imagine you've got this one poor, uncorrupted soul with wide eyes that has never ever seen what pro wrestling is. And you've got one chance to show him or her 5 wrestling matches that is going to absolutely encapsulate them and bring them into this crazy, mad world. This is not the 5 best matches of all time Dave Meltzer's 6-star WrestleDome Tokyo list. This is not one of those things. This is 5 matches that encapsulate why pro wrestling is everything that this world is supposed to be. It's got emotions, it's got drama, it's got chemistry, it's got art, and above all, it's got brain rot. But these 5 matches that I've chosen, they perfectly explain why pro wrestling makes grown men cry, boo, cheer, chant, this is awesome, like they're a couple of trained seals. So buckle up, because if you don't agree with this list, you're either lying to yourself or you just might be a Goldberg fan, which is worse than being, well, anything that you can ever dream of. At number 1, we've got Shawn Michaels versus The Undertaker at WrestleMania 26. This is the sequel to the greatest wrestling match ever. And no, not that Randy Orton Edge 2020 marketing gimmick. No, not that. But Shawn Michaels, The Undertaker in one ring at another WrestleMania. WrestleMania 26 in 2010. And the reason why this match was so special was because you couldn't sum up the history of these 2 men in a 10-minute video on YouTube. This wasn't just the culmination of Shawn Michaels' in-ring wrestling career. This was the culmination of eras. This was the culmination of the Attitude Era, of the Ruthless Aggression Era, and every single part of WWE's golden age is all funneled into this one moment. And how does HBK go out? Like only HBK would, with a slap to the face of death, with a slap to the face of the man that he knew had him beat. This match had everything. It had a 5-star wrestling chemistry. This match had the story going into it. This match had the legacy going into it. This match had one of the best ever wrestlers going at it at the grandest stage of them all. And above all, this match actually counted for something because Shawn Michaels actually retired properly until that Saudi back came, but we don't talk about that one, do we? All in all, WrestleMania 26, the ring was the canvas, and these 2 men just painted the starry night. At number 2, we've got Cody Rhodes versus Roman Reigns, WrestleMania 40. Another sequel, but this one wasn't just a wrestling match. This one was the Avengers Endgame of WWE, the renaissance of WWE under Triple H's watch, all bottled into one showdown. Tribal Chief Roman Reigns with his 1300 plus day reign, and Super Saiyan Cody Rhodes finally finishing his goddamn story. Build was absolute cinema. Cody punking The Rock out with an Uno reverse card. The Rock having one of the best career resurgences that anybody has ever seen as the final boss and beating the living out of Cody Rhodes against that trailer. During that time, early 2024, Raw and SmackDown were unmissable products. I wasn't born in the Attitude Era. I have never seen it. For me, that felt as close to the Attitude Era as anything ever could. Wrestling was finally mainstream because of this feud. And the match itself between Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes, it wasn't a 5-star technical match, but it was probably the grandest match that WWE has ever put out on the grandest stage of them all. The match had John Cena, the match had The Undertaker, the match had The Rock, the match had Solo fucking Sikoa, if that floats your boat. But the point is that the storytelling of this match, the moments between Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns, Cody Rhodes finally finishing his story, it was just tear-jerking, it was emotional, and it made me feel certain ways that only pro wrestling could. I mean, the excitement was so much that if it was during TKO's era, they would bottle it up and sell it at WrestleMania Access. And it was probably the only high point we had during the Renaissance era before the Attitude Era finally took over. But this match, the end game of WWE, it was special. Number 3, El Torito versus Hornswoggle WeeLC match. You might think that I'm joking, but I'm absolutely dead serious right now. Because pro wrestling isn't just about putting on great matches or having these stories that are going to carry on the WWE lore for the next 10 years or having an icon from the past facing an icon from the present. It's not all about that. Sometimes it's just about brain rot. It's about pure, unfiltered brain rot. Like, why the hell am I watching this at 3 a.m. brain rot? And El Torito and Hornswoggle at Extreme Rules delivered exactly that. Pure brain rot. Mini ladders, mini chairs, mini tables, mini commentators. I mean, these two legends, Hornswoggle and El Torito, were going harder than half of the AEW locker room on a Wednesday night. I'm sorry, Darby Allin, but this is what a hardcore match truly looks like. Show this to somebody who has never seen wrestling before and they will either hate you or they will get it. They will just get what pro wrestling is all about. Number 4, Sasha Banks versus Bayley, NXT TakeOver Brooklyn 2015. The greatest women's wrestling match of all time. You can end the video here. It's final, it's period. This was the greatest wrestling match of all time between two women, because it wasn't just a regular match, it was a cultural reset. For decades and decades, women in this industry are just eye candy. They're divas in sexy bikini and lingerie, fighting for the Divas title and just being treated as props. But these two women went out there on one night in Brooklyn and they showed that we can do it, if not better, but just as good as the best men's wrestlers can. The chemistry, the storytelling, the match itself, the little girl crying in the corner as Bayley won the title. It's the reason why thousands of women around the world looked at that wrestling ring and went, I want to do that with my life. There was no smoke, no mirrors, just pure wrestling between two of the best women's professional wrestlers in the world. 5. The Rock versus John Cena, WrestleMania 28. The Attitude Era's poster boy versus the PG Era's punchline. Once in a lifetime. Okay, maybe twice, but let's not ruin the tagline right now. This was an absolute spectacle, announced 1 year in advance on the Raw after WrestleMania 27 that The Rock and John Cena are going to be main eventing WrestleMania 28. There was a certain Phil Brooks that wasn't too happy about it, but you know, we move. During that year, it became less of a match and more of a cultural event. We knew that something immense was going down because you had the icon, the North Star of the industry, to quote Cody Rhodes. You had The Rock versus the poster boy of WWE right now, the guy who's carrying the flag for the last 5 or 6 years. You've got that guy versus the guy who made the company. The story just writes itself. And on that night, in front of 80,000 people, they absolutely delivered. The right guy won for once in their lives, and both of those were absolutely electric. And don't even get me started on the build of that match. You had John Cena coming back as the Doctor of Thugonomics. You had The Rock having guitar sessions, just purely roasting John Cena's entire families. You had the Fruity Pebbles. You had The Rock going live via satellite, just sabotaging all of John Cena's merchandise that they had on WWE.com. Absolutely can't do that in the TKO era. But all of us knew that John Cena and The Rock are doing something special. And I feel like it divided the fan base into two halves for the first time in a really long time, where you had all of these young men who were John Cena fans and all of the OGs who were The Rock fans. And just what an incredible story, what an incredible match, what an incredible atmosphere. And it set the tone for one of the most generational heel turns of John Cena, which should have happened after WrestleMania 28, but instead we got Embrace the Hate. But you know, can't expect much from WWE. You've got to learn that if you're going to be a wrestling fan. But yeah, for better or for worse, The Rock versus John Cena, the first one at WrestleMania 28, was one of the biggest reasons why we are all marks of WWE right now. For better or for worse. That's it. That's the list. These 5 matches will hopefully turn somebody new into a wrestling fan, or they will go running for the UFC. And both of them are pretty right in my opinion. What's your take on it? Which 5 matches would you suggest to somebody who's never seen wrestling? Don't forget to comment those matches in the comment section below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. This is Adeen. You were watching Heel Heat with Adeen, and I'll see you guys next time.